I want to update you on the West Virginia water crisis, which the media is not covering. Shocker that the media isn't covering any of this. So let's start with, we went there to coal country, West Virginia, which is southern West Virginia, at the end of last year. No, this was in March of this year. Let's play the first clip, Colin, to remind people the situation there.
Around the 12th, Jamie, the owner of the trailer, calls me, and this whole place looks like a lake. He just woke up one morning.
This whole backyard right here?
Yes,
okay.
The whole front, everything. Well, he thought he had a water leak, and when he took a shovel and shoveled, it spewed out like oil, and it hit him in the face. And he didn't realize the magnitude of it until he started seeing the slurry, chemical, it looked like a chemical-based oil coming out. And then after I got down here, we put a little ditch towards the creek because the DEP come out here that day.
DEP is the
West Virginia Department of Environmental Protection told him to go ahead and put it in the creek because it was getting around his heat pump and they was afraid it was going to get electrocuted. And after we was here for a while, we noticed what was coming out over in the other lot of another artesian well. And it was something out of a war scene. I mean, this was nothing compared to what we had coming out over in the other field.
So a private well, private water wells, residents all over this community, most of them have water wells, and it's supposed to be water from the aquifer.
Yes.
But that looks like
it's coming from a coal mine. They're
right.
saying it's coming from a coal mine, yeah.
And there's coal mines all over the place here.
Yes. There's one right there that went bankrupt in 2017, and it's supposed to be as big as Chicago.
Wow.
Underneath. And they said it filled up with water. And that's why it started coming out artesian. That's their theory. But the community has different theories of what's going on here. We've tested all the water, none of it matches.
Meaning the Department of Environmental Protection,
right?
They tested, they say everything's fine, which I've heard in many other places.
Yes.
It's always fine when they test it. But independent testing that you guys did had very, very high levels of what?
Arsenic, the iron was 2 million, the arsenic was 388, and then whatever else was on that.
Lead was about 2 something?
Yeah, it was real, it was just, you know, through the roof.
Lead is supposed to be 15 parts per billion, which, by the way, is a nonsense number anyway. It's supposed to be 0. The arsenic, I believe, was a couple hundred times higher than it's supposed to be. You also shouldn't have arsenic in your water. And iron, it was about, what, 2 million on that test?
2 million.
And iron, when you have high levels of iron, it breeds bacteria. That's part of what happened in Flint. But I want to talk about, you got white stuff, black stuff. I mean, I'm not an expert on it, but it sure looks like there's some sediment in there. And I've never been down in a coal mine, but you know the coal mines around here. Yeah. Does this kind of look like it could have some contamination from there?
Yes. Well, the University of Virginia Tech come in here, the biologist has said that's a living organism. It's growing.
So if you're new to this, bottom line, this is coal country. There's coal mining everywhere around this area. It's one of the poorest counties in America. And essentially, the coal companies have been intentionally flooding the mines. Based on my reporting and sources on the ground there, they've been intentionally flooding their own coal mines in order to extract what they call coal bed methane, which is a new form of natural gas that is very lucrative and very expensive. So they've been intentionally flooding the coal mines. And when they're intentionally flooding the coal mines, that the byproducts of coal mining, which include oil and the mine water, is leaking out into people's water. I want to play a few more clips from our reporting trip there. Again, we're one of the only outlets in America corporate or independent, that have gone there and spoke with the people. And I could tell you, all over that community, it smelled like shit. Let's play the next one. In Pineville, West Virginia. We're here with Lydia and Judy, and her name? Deneen. Lost her voice though, unfortunately. We are right just a stone's throw away from where the creek is in the backyard, where there is all sorts of foul stuff growing. The white stuff that we saw in Indian Creek is right in the backyard. The green, it almost looks like a fungus kind of thing. It stinks. And their garage also stinks because it was flooded by this contaminated water. And this started last year in the winter, springtime?
February or March.
So tell me, you guys are on city water, but still, all that water started spraying up out of a well back there. When did you notice, how did you notice something was wrong to start?
It was in the yard and stuff. You could see it, and then you could smell it.
What did it smell like?
Rotten eggs. Yeah, and different smells every time. It gets strong.
And over the summer when it was hotter, did the smell get worse?
Yes, really bad. Really bad. You can it smell like a gas smell, rotten eggs. It's just really bad.
And tell me about symptoms, because you guys have had symptoms. You had sores, so you see that right there. See on the leg. And did you have that before this started? Wow.
And she doesn't have a spleen either, so her infections, she can't really fight them.
Right. Not just the humans, but your cats have had issues. Were they ever drinking out of the creek or just inhaling? Inhaling. Yeah. So the cats were also smelling this, and you've had to take them to the vet for respiratory stuff?
Yes.
Right.
Now when they were born, they can meow. They can't meow.
So what you're saying is when they were born, they could meow, and now they can't, which is pretty messed up. So to be clear, when we were there, we were seeing water with white, stringy stuff in it that looked like a bacteria. I saw water that had kind of green fungus. And when I say see, I'm also telling you smell. It stinks. Rotten eggs, in some cases, like oil. I saw water with an oily sheen on it. And residents there, I was there in March. And when I was there in March, residents were telling me that you're talking hundreds of residents for a year have all had significant symptoms: nausea, diarrhea, vomiting, and nothing was being done. There was not even media coverage over this. Let's play the next clip, Colin. It's been seeing a whole lot of patients with similar symptoms. So the residents who have been coming in, they're largely on private well water. What are the main symptoms you've been seeing?
The main symptoms would be nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, coughing in some cases, fever, and abdominal cramps.
About a year ago, we know that there was residents in Pineville, their water wells shooting up, flooding of their backyards, front yards, smelly water, discolored water. Don't know exactly the source of contamination, but from what I've looked at, there's white, stringy stuff in the water. We've seen brown, orange type of water coming out. The symptoms you're seeing, which are a lot of stomach symptoms, are those consistent with, because some of the testing showed lead, arsenic, manganese, and iron?
Yes, and the surfactants that's in the water too. Your body's way of digesting it or trying to digest those things would be diarrhea, vomiting, nausea, weight loss because you're going to be sick and not be able to eat.
And the surfactants, just so the audience knows, that's kind of a byproduct of industrial cleaner?
Yes. Yes, it is.
And the people coming in with diarrhea, this kind of stuff, are they generally, middle-aged people? We're not only talking about elderly people here.
No, it's all ages, from children to middle-aged to elderly.
And we know that residents here, I've talked to some people that have been losing weight kind of rapidly. Have you heard from patients that?
I have.
What about, I know you know, this is a human doctor, but I've also been hearing about dogs getting sick, cats, deer, and your animals have died. Tell me about your dogs and other animals.
I've been seeing coons, been seeing deer dead, seen my dogs get just like they're sick one day and they're dead the next before you can even take them to the vet or anything.
Have you heard from patients about their animals?
Yes, I just had a lady tell me today that she had 12 goats that passed away for no known reason.
And these are mostly residents that live across the creek, Indian Creek, and they have private well water. And we know that there's a lot of coal mining and, you know, gas wells around this area.
Yes.
And you tested them for, you know, various things, and it was all coming up negative.
All negative.
What kind of stuff was tested?
For COVID's, flu A, flu B, strep.
And is there anything you could really do for diarrhea, vomiting, other than like anti-nausea stuff? Was there stuff you were able to give them that was helping, or it's still acting up?
It's still continuing, and with your body, you don't really want it to stop. If there's a toxin in your body, you want your body to be able to pass it, so you want it to continue vomiting or diarrhea to get rid of it. But if they give them something, and it's only going to help for a little while, and if they're continuing to drink this water, it's just going to come back. They're going to stay sick, and that's what we're seeing.
Could these kind of things right now, it's causing, you know, the stomach stuff, but could this lead to potentially worse issues down the road?
Yes, digesting all these chemicals that we are seeing that has been tested for these wells can cause cancer. It can cause all kinds of different things. So, especially if it's not treated. So, if they're continuing to drink this and they're not being notified that, hey, this water's really bad and it has all these chemicals, and they just keep drinking it, it's not going to be a good result in the end.
And is the local health department, the local county, the environmental department, has there been any communication with local health?
There has. I have not been notified of that.
I want to play two more clips because we're getting to the update, but I wanted you to know how bad it was before I update you. So then let's get to another interview I did with Richard, who's one of basically the main activist on the ground there. He took me around while John and I were there this is in Wyoming County, which is southern West Virginia. Let's play that.
Dick, you can tell he's leaning over. There's a lot of people you're going to meet today that's got blisters on them. They have no choice but to shower in the water.
And when you shower, have you noticed anything in terms of smell?
Yeah, and it feels oily. My water's just now starting to smell from it, though. Smells like rotten eggs.
And you said when the water touches you, it feels oily?
It feels oily.
It's hard to breathe it. It's hard. I don't even like turning it on to wash my clothes.
I just don't know what they're going to do.
The water we showered in down at Twin Falls, that's what, 20 minutes down the road? Smelled a little bit there.
Well,
And that's a resort.
well, now, I had people call me because they started getting letters that they're going to mine in that area too. Another mines, and they wanted me to check into it, and I told them I was too busy for this right now. But yeah, that community probably does need to check and see if they're going to get mined under.
Well, it seems like they did get mine under. So what I was referring to there, John and I were staying in Twin Falls, which is kind of I don't know if it's a state park in Wyoming County, West Virginia. Very beautiful, a lot of hiking, natural scenery. We stayed in a cabin, very nice. But I mean, I've stayed in a lot of places with bad water, and you could tell a lot of them are the same rotten egg smell or other smell. And the water in Twin Falls, where we were staying 20 minutes away from Pineville was the town, it smelled. Well, that was in March. I went there. We're now in September, so 6 months later. Let's show the image that Richard posted. So this is the image. We got another call about Twin Falls. Acid mine drainage is coming out at the first falls. If you could click on the picture so they could see. That orange shit is coming out into the water. That's oil, folks. That's oil. And this is, people get their drinking water from the creeks and the falls in this area. And this is 20 minutes away from the main town. So it seems that coal companies are flooding their mines all over the place. And I'm going to have Richard back on next week to explain that a little bit more. He could explain it better than me, but it seems they're intentionally flooding their own mines in order to then, when they drain it, to make it easier to get to mine something called coal bed methane, which is a growing lucrative form of natural gas. But let's play the video. This was Richard the other day showing the contamination at Twin Falls.
Falls. This is right there at the second falls. It's coming out of the ground. It's coming out everywhere. Look, it's oil. It's oil. This is right below the second falls. Right there's the falls. Guys, I'm telling you right now, that drought is a diversion. Look. Look at this. It's coming out of the ground right there. I'm trying to slow the camera down. It's coming out of the ground. It's coming out of the rock. We got a tip from some people that's up there. Look at that. That's surfactants right there. That's industrial cleaner. It's coming out of the ground. It's coming out right there. It's coming out up there. This is the second falls. Look. That's oil. They're saying it's, listen, I'm telling you guys, this has been mined under. Twin Falls has been mined under. We already know it's been mined under. Guys, listen, I'm telling y'all, that drought is a diversion. They're using all these waters to fill up the mines. Now that the mines are full, it's starting to come out everywhere. So, look at the surfactants, guys. I had that tested.
Remember, I was there in March, and I said, yeah, that's shower water in Twin Falls, which was 20 minutes from where the main contamination was. The shower water smelled funky. And he told me, yeah, I've been hearing from people over there. And it's a beautiful park. John Farina might have pictures because he probably took pictures there. And that's the shit coming out in the falls and the creeks. And I do have a little information, Colin, if you could put it up, the coal bed methane link. Coal bed methane refers to an unconventional form of natural gas found in coal deposits or seams. It is a clean energy source. Yeah, they call all this natural gas clean energy. My ass. It is the clean energy source extracted by drilling wells into coal seams and is used as compressed natural gas for various domestic and industrial purposes. Well, I'm going to have Richard on hopefully next week to explain it, but from what I could tell, they are flooding mines throughout this area. It seems all over the place. And in coal mines, if you flood the mines, you're going to have contaminated coal water coming out, which has arsenic, staggering arsenic, lead, high levels of iron. You're also going to have some bacteria problems, which is probably why it smells so bad. And there's oil that is a byproduct during mining. So people have diarrhea, vomiting, nausea, dizziness, and as that whistleblower told me, who is a healthcare worker, this stuff causes cancer. What's Joe Manchin doing about it? The governor of West Virginia, who is going to be the next senator, because Jim Justice, the governor, is running for Senate to replace Joe Manchin. He's he used to be a billionaire. Now he's a 100 billionaire. He's a coal baron. He owns a bunch of coal companies. He ain't doing shit. He's probably in on it. The West Virginia Department of Environmental Protection, its people seem to be former coal executives because there's a revolving door. And you got people who work for coal companies who then go to work for the Environmental Protection Company. Meanwhile, these poor people, literally poor, they are poor, are breathing in, drinking, and bathing in all the byproducts of coal mining. And this isn't on the national news.